The herbs that I have here with me are some ancient Chinese herbs that have been used in different formulas, and together in this setting they work really well to support our Wei Qi and our lungs. So on this plate I have some herbs that you may have heard of. This is astragalus, which is pretty common in Western medicine. As well, it's got a little more popularity in Chinese medicine. Its pinyin name is Huang Qi, and it is really powerful in tonifying the qi. So on this plate, this is a formula that just has 3 herbs in it, and it's called the Jade Windscreen formula, or Yu Ping Fen San in Chinese. So we have astragalus, siler, or Feng, and these are white atractylodes, or Bai Su. So astragalus, which you may have heard of, a lot of people take it for their immune systems, Wei Qi support. It's a really building herb. It's got some similarities to ginseng, which I was talking about in the last video, as far as its ability to raise yang qi to the head. A way to neutralize that is to fry it in honey. So that's a modification. And there are so many modifications within Eastern herbology to completely change the function of an herb almost to its opposite in a lot of ways, just by something simple like frying it in honey, which I just think is great. So that's astragalus, or Huang Qi. It augments the protective qi, the Wei Qi, protective qi, and it stabilizes the exterior. So this formula, the Jade Windscreen, in general, it is a qi tonifying, and it will stabilize the exterior and stop sweating. So these are white atractylodes, and there are different atractylodes, and there are variations, modifications on this, but this is it in its raw form. In its raw form, it dries dampness and promotes urination. So that is another method of pushing out a pathogen, is, through diuretics. There are a lot of ways. Most of these herbs work mostly like through the pores, relieving the surface, but there are variations and different techniques in pushing out a pathogen. So white atractylodes also strengthens our spleen. It's bitter, it's sweet, it's warm, really warming, so when we're relieving the surface, the exterior, we want to implement warming herbs to kick out the pathogen. And it repairs any qi deficiency, so it works really well with the astragalus to just keep our energy levels going, especially in the winter, when we're in hibernation mode. And the last herb is siler, or Feng. And as you can see, these are all roots. Nuts, berries, barks, and roots. That's traditional Chinese medicine. So siler is, its name translates to guard against wind, or drive out wind. So it does exactly that. Pushes out pathogens, it releases the exterior, and expels internal wind dampness. And when I say dampness, I might go into a little more detail in a different video on the 6 evils, which are hot, cold, dry, damp, interior, exterior, and yin and yang. But dampness, for now, we can basically just say is like too much mucus, or it can turn into phlegm, or just misplaced fluids. But I won't get too big into that right now because it's a little bit complex for the amount of time I would like to have your attention for. So that's a really simple 3 herb formula right there. I make it in tea, so I will do a decoction, which is like a double boiling basically. And in herbology, the decoction is important to do twice, because when we boil the herbs or simmer the herbs the first time, then it's activating their qi level function, and when we cook the herbs a second time, it's activating the blood level. So it's a multi level formula in that sense when we combine the two. So the other formula that I have, and I put these together And it's a common practice in a lot of ways to combine these two formulas because they work really well together. They can really support your lungs in the Wei Qi. So this formula has the ability to disperse wind and alleviate pain, which is one of the first signs and symptoms if we're catching a cold, and unblocks the nose. So this here is Xanthium. Oh, the name of the formula, I'm sorry, is the Xanthium formula, or Cang and its function is to release the exterior with any head and neck symptoms specifically, and that is what Xanthium helps with. It has an antimicrobial effect, and it unblocks the nasal passages and expels wind dampness. So this is called Xanthium fruit. It's the seed pods. With all of these herbs, I have an industrial herb grinder, so I grind them up and into powder form when I give them to clients. Myself, I like to do the decoctions, although it takes hours, so it can be simplified, and I'll do that too. Crush them up to make like a more on-the-go type tea. And so this is magnolia flower, which grows around where I live in New England. Big, beautiful white and pink trees. So this is the flower bud before it opens. And with these, along with any other seeds, you want to break it apart, crush the seeds. And I just think it's a really beautiful plant. It is acrid and warm. It expels the wind cold, and it unblocks the nasal passages as well. It's really helpful if you lose your sense of smell for any reason. It's good for any sinus problems and any headache associated with it. So that is the magnolia flower pod. Whoops. Also, Chinese angelica is one of the major herbs in this formula. I do not have that in raw herb form. I only have it in powder, and that's not really that exciting to show people. So that's called Wei Qi, and it disperses wind dampness, again the dampness and the phlegm. It releases the exterior. It's acrid and it's warm, and it also helps to alleviate any pain that's associated with wind cold. And this is Chinese mint, which is just one of the many varieties of mint, and it has the ability to clear the eyes and the head, and it releases any wind heat. So it's venting. It can bring rashes to the surface in that way. Releases the exterior. It's powerful, and it sort of balances out the warm herbs, and together with Solomon's seal rhizome, which is this here, or polygonatum is its other name. They work together to release wind heat really well when they're combined. It moistens any dryness, so it has a balancing effect, and it enters the lungs and the stomach. It's slightly cold, so it also balances some of the warmer herbs, and it extinguishes any wind. So yeah, this formula is Cang and the function of it is to disperse wind and alleviate pain and unblock the nose. So paired with the three-piece formula here, the Jade Windscreen, when they're together, the functions all combine to really just bolster our body's natural self-protective tendencies. It just supports our Wei Qi. It's preparing us for any pathogens that might be waiting to invade when we're not ready. So it just I take it every day. I share it with my family. We drink it as tea. It's really floral. I really like it, and so far no sicknesses, so that's good. So that is my spiel about Wei Qi and the lungs. If anyone has any questions, I love to talk about this. I'm really excited to be able to share the medicine with you guys, and I have a million more things I could say. So if there's any questions, please send me a message or leave a comment, whatever, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. All right, have a great day.